Well, there has been swift developments ever since Mustafizur Rahman was dropped by BCCI and thereafter Kolkata Knight Riders, which means he's not going to play next season of IPL. Now, the Bangladesh government has taken a decision of not sending their team for the T20 World Cup. I'm joined by Boria Majumdar, our consultant editor at this hour. Boria, first thing first, the decision has come just an hour ago. How do you read into the decision which has been put out by Dr. Asif Nazrul, their advisor, sports advisor to the government?
Yeah, I mean, Asif Nazrul had said yesterday itself, if you see his post yesterday, that he was advising the Ministry of Information that IPL broadcast should be stopped. He was urging the Bangladesh Cricket Board to take a hard line. From what I understand, there was a BCB meeting, basis my sources in the morning. The BCB did not want to write to the ICC saying they wanted to withdraw. They wanted to write to the ICC citing security concerns. But thereafter, the political establishment took over and the government of Bangladesh upped the ante and decided to take the hard line. And about an hour back, like you said, Asif Nazrul puts out this post saying that the BCB has agreed not to send the team to India. What are the implications? Clearly, the ICC will now have to take a call. If Bangladesh doesn't want to come to India, there are two options here. One, to continue with the tournament without Bangladesh, number one, to then or move the Bangladesh games to Sri Lanka. These are the two options. Now, if you want to move the Bangladesh games to Sri Lanka, there is a broadcast issue because the World Cup was planned with 3 games per day, two in India, one in Sri Lanka. Now, how do you kind of circumvent that? What happens to broadcast? That's question number one. Question number two, if you want to replace Bangladesh, then the question will come that, even India has cited security concerns in the past and has not traveled to Pakistan, for example, or Pakistan has not traveled to India. So why are you, if the International Cricket Council says that we will replace Bangladesh, it's a government call, it's not a BCB call. If it's a government call, then how do you address that? So clearly the situation has been muddled. This will mean that I don't see Bangladesh players coming to play the IPL, at least in the foreseeable future. I also don't see the Indian tour going ahead sitting today, unless the elections bring about a dramatically different story, Rika. This is now a situation which will go the Pakistan route. India and Bangladesh will also kind of degenerate into India and Pakistan.
Okay, let me ask you this question. The Bangladeshi establishment has said that they are not going to travel, the team is not going to travel to India, but they do not say that they are pulling out of the tournament. That is the catch there. So they have literally put the ball in ICC's court right now, saying that you find the solution. This is what we are going to do, but you find the solution to this mess.
You're 100% right. They are not saying that they are pulling out. They don't want to come to India. And that's the call. In fact, what I know, BCB will now write to the ICC saying, please take our matches to Sri Lanka. We don't want to travel to India. We will not play on Indian soil, but we do want to play the World Cup and please take our matches to Sri Lanka. So you're 100% correct there that they have not pulled out of the World Cup. They're not remotely saying that we want to pull out of the World Cup. They've put the ball in ICC's court and they're trying to put pressure on the BCCI. So basically saying that, oh, you know what, we will not travel to India. Now, this is a tournament that is being jointly hosted by India and Sri Lanka. Pakistan will be based out of Sri Lanka. So give our matches in Sri Lanka as well. The larger question is what happens to the Asian bloc. The larger question is what happens to the ACC. Will there even be an Asia Cup going forward with strained relations like this? The more immediate context, Jai Shah will once again be, have to kind of deal with this because, as the chairman of the ICC, the onus stops with him for an ICC tournament. What call does his ICC take? Will they want to continue without Bangladesh? Will they want to continue with Bangladesh and move the games? Because this is now a political call. This is no longer anything to do with the BCB. And the BCB has no say. Like I told you, the BCB wanted to write a letter where they wanted to cite security concerns, but at no point were they wanting to pull out. It was the political establishment which imposed on them saying, no, you should not travel to India, or you can't go to India. So this is a political call. Now it will depend on the ICC. Can they, within 1 month, today we are sitting on the 4th of Jan, can they, the tournament starts on the 4th in terms of warm-up games. So can they in 1 month change everything and get Bangladesh to play in Sri Lanka? Is that feasible? What happens to broadcast? Will they say, okay, one game at the Premadasa, one game in the other stadium, the SSC. Is that a feasibility? Clearly, there is a lot of. We've not seen the end of this story, Rika. There will be a lot of
There's
political
going to be
threads
a
over
lot between now and then. But Boria, as a compromise, do you see now? I understand Bangladesh cannot come to Bengal, but Bangladesh can't come to Kolkata because Bengal is on the boil. A Bengal minister has said that no Bangladeshi player, no Bangladeshi team should be there. But as a compromise, can the matches be moved to another state or city in India?
I don't see that because from what Asif Nazrul has said, and I'll read it out for our viewers on NDTV 24/7. বিশ্বকাপ খেলতে ভারতে যাবে না বাংলাদেশ। আজ এই সিদ্ধান্ত নিয়েছে বাংলাদেশ ক্রিকেট বোর্ড। ভারতীয় ক্রিকেট বোর্ডের উগ্র সাম্প্রদায়িক নীতির প্রেক্ষিতে গৃহীত এই সিদ্ধান্তকে স্বাগত জানাই। What does this mean? That Bangladesh will not travel to India to play the World Cup. This has been decided by the Bangladesh Cricket Board. India apparently, and then he goes on to say it's based on the extremist decision making of the BCCI, and he welcomes it. So clearly, this statement by Asif Nazrul has kind of left no stone there that okay, a compromise, another city or another state. It's a clear outright statement which says that the BCB will not send its team to India. So I think that door is now closed because this guy is the sports advisor to the
Government.
minister. And he's tweeting from his official handle. He's posted from his official handle. From what I understand, Aminul Bulbul will have to toe that line. I mean, obviously, will have to toe that line. So, if you ask me, now the ball is clearly in the ICC's court. The ICC will have to take a call whether or not to go ahead with the Bangladesh request of staging their games in Sri Lanka, or will the tournament now be done without Bangladesh and ICC will opt for another team? That's the call. It's just 1 month to go. So clearly the turf has been muddled. Bangladesh will say India muddled it. India will say for the longest time, Bangladesh had the opportunity of getting its house in order, which is the case. The political instability and the attacks on minorities and the persecution that was going on. So clearly, this is now an issue way beyond the sporting field, once again showing us all that sports and politics are closest of bedfellows.
Yes, sports and politics are intertwined. But Boria, looking at what happened in the last 24 hours, would you say throwing out Mustafizur Rahman from the IPL was a knee-jerk reaction?
Was if it was a knee-jerk reaction, it would have happened on the 16th, and no Bangladesh player could have been included then. I think frankly, I don't see Debajit Saikia having taken that call. It's not possible for Debajit.
Yeah, it's not possible. It's a government call.
To take that call. It's a government call. And 100% back channel negotiations must have happened with the central government, the MEA and the Ministry of Home Affairs. So in that sense, was it kind of building up? I think that's the answer. I don't think it was a knee-jerk call or a reaction to what was going on in social media against Shah Rukh Khan or KKR. I think the government was waiting to see if situation improves or not. When the situation progressively started to deteriorate, they have taken the call. So I don't see it was an overnight, all of a sudden hasty knee-jerk call. Let me also give you this. The Bangladesh Cricket Board is now apparently writing to the ICC. A letter will be sent to the ICC requesting them to relocate Bangladesh's matches to Sri Lanka. And that's going today. That's what I'm now being told, Rika, that letter is being sent to the ICC as we speak. So the ICC will now have to adjudicate on that.
So the ball clearly is now in ICC's court. But Boria, when we talk about these leagues and players from countries that are not necessarily friendly with India, we have seen Indian franchises buying Pakistani players and Bangladeshi players to play in other leagues. How do you, look at that situation? Today, as we speak, a certain Shakib Al Hassan is playing for one Mumbai team that is owned by Reliance.
That's a very, very interesting question. That the moment you go beyond Indian shores, what happens to these political considerations? Be it the Dubai tournament, be it the South Africa tournament, be it these leagues across the world. Now also in England with the 100 being half owned by India, right? I mean, Sanjeev Goenka owns a Manchester franchise, Reliance owns a London franchise and stuff like that. What happens there? This is a fascinating question that Is it only about geographical boundaries where these political tensions play out? And the moment you go beyond the Indian shores and you transcend the Indian boundary, these kind of political considerations don't have impact? Or is it that these political considerations will have impact because the owners are Indians? Your example shows that at least today, the decision was to stop Mustafiz from playing in the IPL. The decision was not to stop Bangladeshi players from playing in other tournaments for Indian franchises. Now, the BCCI might say that we don't have any kind of jurisdiction in telling any franchise which has a team in a South African league or a Dubai league to take a call. But will there be back channels going forward? Will you see a Pakistani player play in an Indian franchise? Will you see after this a Bangladeshi player play, or will Shakib Al Hasan remain an aberration? This is a brilliant example. I think you've just kind of hit the nail on the head that sport and geopolitics and the multiple different dimensions of sport and geopolitics makes it a fascinating story. This is a beautiful example, Vika. A good one.
Boria, to end our discussion, I really have to ask you about the economics of T20 World Cup, because without economics, ICC probably wouldn't have had one World Cup every year, one ICC World Cup every year, if Bangladesh's matches are shifted out of India and they are staged in Sri Lanka, which means a different set of logistics. What kind of loss is ICC looking at? And whether do you think it is recoverable through the tournament?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Bangladesh is no Pakistan. That Bangladesh's games will have that kind of television revenue or in stuff like that. No. In fact, if you think the way the tournament was planned, the three Super 8 games that India are supposed to play are one Australia, two South Africa, three West Indies. Only if Bangladesh would have beaten West Indies, the first March game could have been different. So the way the tournament has been conceptualized, it is not as if Bangladesh would have been a blockbuster team. The matches were in Kolkata, would have made it Bangladeshi fans kind of easier to travel to Kolkata and watch at the Eden Gardens, but gate receipts are hardly even 1% of the total proceeds of the ICC. Will Bangladesh games give you tremendous numbers in broadcast? The answer is no. So the larger economic story, ICC will not really bother. They will not really flinch as long as India stays in the tournament, as long as India-Pakistan goes unhindered in Colombo. The political ramifications are far, far more important, because now to do all of this, the logistical challenge, the security challenge, the nightmare that it will now happen over the next couple of days. In my case, I've actually made plans with my reporters to send them to Colombo for a particular period. Now, if Bangladesh plays there, and suppose and they beat West Indies, does that mean that the first March game, the Super 8 game, moves out of Kolkata to Colombo? If that happens, how do you plan it? So logistically and politically, this will be a nightmare. Economically, I don't see this as a problem.
Well, thank you very much, Boria. We will have much to talk about over the next few days. And thanks for joining me at this hour.